So yeah, the first question we always have to lead off from the Reddit community is standard complaints about LAN latency and connectivity issues. But I guess the more general question is, do you guys see a specific problem in major live events with connectivity issues, and do you have any alternative solutions that are coming up, such as game reconnect or like multiplayer game state staves or some alternate solution aside from LAN to taking care of kind of the tournament's disconnect problem?
I've seen some issues in some of the tournaments, and we're always very distressed when we see that, and we're always looking for solutions along those lines. We'll definitely be talking about those more and more. I can't promise you anything, I'm sorry to say. Some of these things are pretty big engineering tasks for us, and some of them may even be impossible for us to do at this state.
What units are you looking at currently in this current build of Heart of the Swarm that you think you're probably going to have to move because they're just going to break the game in a minute or two? What are the ones that are kind of on that teetering?
Well, a lot of the units are on that teetering edge of things we don't know. When we approach this game, if we think too hard about the metagame and we get too worried about what we're going to break, we would add nothing. For Heart of the Swarm, we're taking some chances again, and some of these may go away. Things that I believe work. I believe the Swarm host works. I believe this unit, we've play tested it enough that it feels really good. I believe that the Oracle, at least one of the spells, Entomb, works. That's the one that locks down minnows. That has been a spectacular success for us in our limited playtests. So I would believe in those guys. Everything else, I don't know for sure, right? The ones that scare me the most would be the Replicant. I'm afraid that might drive units out of the game. I'm not worried we can't balance him in the sense that we can't make him cost more or cost more food. We have some tools that we can use. We can reduce his range. We can do all kinds of things to him to make him more balanceable. What I'm afraid is that Terran players won't build Banshees anymore against Protoss because they're afraid of Protoss Banshees coming back at them. That would be the biggest fear.
So was there a particular Wings of Liberty unit that just totally drove you guys nuts from a balance perspective, where you just couldn't seem to get the balance on that particular unit right? And on that note, how did the removal of carriers come about, I guess?
So units that drove us crazy, Overseer drove us crazy. He provides food, so we keep trying to put cool spells on him, and we keep taking them off, and we keep making the spells he has better, and then we keep nerfing them because he gives free. You can have an unlimited number of these things. It's not tenable. The design is flawed. There is no balanced solution to that unit. The design is flawed. The Thor was a lot of trouble for us, and we think got him to a pretty happy place. And we're seeing him some esport events, but he's still kind of annoys us, right, for a lot of reasons, because he's such a big break point. He costs so much. It's very easy for him to be countered, or for him just to counter everything, because he's just a single unit. And StarCraft's very much about an economy, grinding away at the opposition. But those are two of the big ones. And the Ultralisk, of course, has always been a battle just because of his pathing. He has so much trouble getting in. I mean, I think he's like 600 health right now. Oh my God! And he still feels borderline, right? Like he still feels like sometimes he's really good, sometimes he kind of sucks, right? You're like, and he's 600 health. How can that be, right? What is he gonna go to 800? And it'll finally work? Like, that's insane. Like, if you have like a Void Ray trying to kill an Ultralisk now and he's in your base, it takes all day. It's a Void Ray, right? So he's always been a little bit of trouble for us as well. The Carrier is just a unit that, there's a couple things with the Carrier. I guess the biggest ones, we're just not seeing a lot of them, right? They see use at the occasional high-level game. They see more use at the mid to low-level games, 4v4. Sometimes we'll have big packs of Carriers, but it's not a unit that fulfills sort of a core role for the race. It doesn't counter a bunch of stuff that we'd like for it to counter, and so we're putting in a new area effect carrier, essentially, in the Tempest that can hopefully do these things. I suppose if we really want to, we could keep the carrier art and put a big splash weapon on him, and that would be kind of what we're doing. But we felt like that the role was different enough that it warranted a change in the art, that would be more confusing than helpful at the end of the day. And since we're holding on to it, I think for most of us who are holding on to it, are holding on it simply because it's iconic, I'd be willing to make the hard choice and say, hey, you know what? It had its day. It's cool. Maybe it'll come back another day. It's still in Wings. It's not out of the universe, right? But that the Protoss need something that can help them against some of these big, massive, air threats. Cool.
Don't forget rocks.
Yeah.
Rocks are your.
Oh.
Hey, you are the czar of destructible rocks.
Oh, well, we have. I mean, in Heart of the Swarm, we're planning on maps that are nothing but destructible rocks. In fact, we're thinking there should be a fourth race that is the destructible rock race.
Yes.
It's a very slow playing race. It just crawls around the map. Actually, it doesn't move. It just sort of sits there and just does it.
Yeah,
They turtle pretty hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Transform into something too, like a bigger destructible rock.
Oh, a bigger rock. I was going to say nothing cool. It has to be another rock, right? Yeah, but it'd be a bigger rock. Absolutely. Totally.